Have you ever felt like your thoughts were racing so fast you couldn't tell which ones were true? Ever wondered if you were really deeply inspired or just deluded? You're not alone. And in this video, I'm diving into one of the most profound mysteries of shadow work, the 61st evolutionary pattern of change, the pressure to know, the fear of going insane, and the surprising path to divine peace. But first, let me start with a parable called the Temple of 10,000 Voices. At this point, please close your eyes and visualize the story I am about to share. Once upon a time, there lived a young philosopher named Alan. In a kingdom built entirely on knowledge, every citizen carried books on their back, wore scrolls as cloaks, and debated daily about the meaning of life. But deep within the city was a forbidden place, the Temple of 10,000 Voices. Legend said that those who entered it either emerged as mystics or never returned at all. Alan, obsessed with finding the ultimate truth, believed he was ready. If I can hear all the voices, he said, I will finally understand the universe. And so, under the light of a full moon, he entered. Inside, voices echoed from every direction, ideas, prophecies, warnings, paradoxes. Some were beautiful, others terrifying. None agreed. Alan listened for days, maybe weeks, trying to piece together the ultimate message. But the more he listened, the more confused he became. Truth fractured, thoughts spiraled, and he began to lose himself in the very thing he sought, meaning. One night, too tired to analyze, Alan collapsed on the temple floor. For the first time, he stopped thinking. In that stillness, something shifted. All the voices quieted. One single note, just one, filled the temple. A hum of peace, not explanation, not a concept, but a presence. When Alan walked out, he was changed, no longer desperate for answers, but radiating something far more powerful, a grace of sanctity. Welcome to this video on the 61st archetypal pattern of change, of our journey through these 64 challenges. Today, we enter one of the most mystifying and profound of them all, the 61st evolutionary pattern of change, the shadow of psychosis, the gift of inspiration it has to offer, and the city, or ascended grace, of sanctity. This isn't just about mental health or spirituality. It's about the evolution of human consciousness and the tension between seeking the truth and becoming it. The 61st challenge lives in the head center, specifically the crown area, where questions like why are born. It governs that inner pressure we all feel to figure things out, to know, to connect the dots. But when that pressure becomes distorted, we spiral into mental overdrive or total shutdown. The shadow of psychosis isn't always dramatic or clinical. In its everyday form, it shows up as obsessive overthinking, spiritual paranoia, intellectual isolation, compulsive truth-seeking, conspiracy attachment, or simply an inability to rest in the unknown. There are two sides to this shadow. The repressive is where it silences itself. Afraid of judgment, it hides its insights, it retreats into logic, religion, or socially safe ideologies. Quote, I'll just follow what others believe. That feels safer than trusting my own mind. And there's the reactive. It shouts louder. And it may say, I've seen the truth and others must follow. It over-identifies with inspiration and demands recognition, often masking deep insecurity with righteousness. At both ends, the person is still fragmented, still seeking stability through mental control. But the truth is, the shadow is not a flaw, it's a sacred tension point. The companion shadow to psychosis is the shadow of intellect and its fear of being wrong. Its repressive nature is to become obsessive, and its reactive nature is to become pedantic. So you can see why these two shadows try to keep us locked in our mental field for so long that we forget that we even have a voice below our necks. For those interested in doing deeper personal alchemy and wish to have a means of accelerating an understanding of shadow work, over the last 3 to 5 years, I have collected a wealth of information from various esoteric systems, namely the I Ching, human design, gene keys, the chakra systems, and astrology, as well as integrating them with the human genetic code. And in this chart, you will find the details of all the different shadows, all the different fears, the specific fears that fuel those specific shadows, all 64, all in relationship to each codon. And in this wheel, you will find 4 legends on each corner because they can't all fit on one corner or one side to make it a nice, evenly balanced square. So here is the statements from each zodiac sign. So you can see. And then we have the legend for each chakra. You'll notice that there are more than 7, and because there are more than 7 because it is including the spleen as a means to detect threats. So there's an intuitional center there. There's also a center of willpower called the thyroid, because when we are born, the thyroid is literally almost, if not as big as our heart. So we have to accommodate that. And on the other side of this, you will also find an understanding of the I Ching, hexagram system, the different trigrams, the relationship to the three-dimensional plane, the yin and the yang, and how each of the 6 lines are affiliated with different archetypes, thanks to the human design and or gene key system. And lastly, you will also find the human genetic sequence chart for all the amino acids associated with the human genetic code. But furthermore, you will also find in this chart all the different zodiacs, all 12, mixed with the human design gene key chart. Bear with me, my graphics card is not as fast as other people's on their computer, but you will see all the different fears, all the different shadows, and how they relate to each chakra in those colorful little dots. So you can see how it affects each energy center in the body and how each of them have their own repressive and reactive statements because there are 6 expressions in each challenge. Therefore, you will also find those 6 lines in there, all with their own repressive and reactive statements, their associated dilemmas from that specific shadow, which eventually will clear up, the gift from making the right choices regularly and practicing that gift with its own unique self-empowerment statement. So as you learn to vacate the trapped emotions such as sadness, fear, anger, shame, and guilt, and you reorient towards true self-alignment and honoring the intuition and inner authority that you possess, it will lead you towards the grace specific to that challenge. So if you would like to learn more about this and or you would like to download this file for your own personal means of translating your specific challenges in the human design system or in the gene key system, it is all there for you. All you have to go is to my website and download this PDF file. It's about 50 megabytes in size. I hope you enjoy this and hope you enjoy this brief glimpse into this massive PDF with all the details about all the specific challenges you'll have in your personal self-realization path. In order to find this PDF, a link will be found down below in the description of the YouTube video. When using that elaborate and vast chart of information, you can use the human design apps found in the App Store on Google Play so that you can choose whichever speaks to you most. And as you choose whichever human design app works best for you, you can then use that towards the chart. So you get your information and your numbers. And then after that, you can use the chart as reference. For example, I use the human design app, which helps me see the specific numbers that I need to see in the top right-hand corner. The red are the unconscious. These are the ones that were imprinted when the soul decided to remain anchored in the body about 90 days before you were born, between the second and the third trimester. The black numbers indicate the conscious, more aware challenges that you know you have in your current life, based on your survival challenges and your adversities currently going on in your life. You can also find that same application in the Human Design App Store for iPhone and or iOS before you start using the chart that you have purchased online. Thank you very much. And if you ever need more information on this and you wanted a free consultation in understanding the current challenges in your life and how it relates to human design, feel free to reach out through the links below. You can also visit thegenekeys.com. There, you will also find a different kind of chart. It relates to the same challenges and same numerical sequences as found in the I Ching and Human Design. And there you'll be able to find a free profile link where you can then enter in your personal information in this field and then have a look at your specific gene key profiles and understand your genus sequence, your Venus sequence in opening up your heart, your love sequence, prosperity, and finding inner harmony. Thank you for watching this short introduction into the Wheel of Evolutionary Change and the chart that I've shown you in brief. And hopefully through those apps and through this PDF, you will find a way to decode the challenges you face and understand how to make the best choices for you and everyone you were meant to impact positively in your life. Now back to the shadow work and the evolutionary change in this video. But let's get back to the shadow of psychosis. Why does this shadow exist? What's its evolutionary purpose? Why do we have this shadow in our evolutionary wheel? Why does the pressure to understand everything exist? Because evolution is not just physical survival. It's consciousness refinement. In ancient times, the 61st challenge helped our ancestors link inner and outer worlds. We mapped stars, created mythologies, and wove symbols into meaning. But now, in the modern age, we're overloaded with information. The shadow arises when our minds outpace our inner stillness. Spiritually speaking, this shadow tests our willingness to sit with the mystery, to not just seek answers, but to become receptive to divine inspiration without clinging to identity, ego, or story. This 61st challenge is evolution's filter for who can hold the sacred unknown without becoming consumed by it. This shadow is not meant to be resolved, it is meant to be loved. Psychosis, in this context, is the fear that we'll never be able to trust our minds, that we'll lose ourselves in the void. But on the other side of that void is a grace. On the other side of the confusion is communion. When we stop clinging to explanations, when we allow the pressure to be present without resistance, a new frequency begins to emerge. The gift of inspiration doesn't come from thinking harder. It comes from softening inward. And eventually, with enough stillness and humility, the mind becomes transparent, no longer a lens, but a mirror for the divine. That's the ascended grace of sanctity, a presence so peaceful, it no longer needs to know anything. It simply is. So if you've ever felt like you were unraveling mentally or spiritually, if you've ever chased truth until you lost yourself, if you've ever sat in silence and finally heard nothing and everything, you're not broken. You are waking up. And the pressure you feel, that's just love knocking from the inside out. So remember, your path is sacred. Your mind is not your enemy, and the mystery is your home. Thank you for watching this video for as long as you have. It may have been difficult to do so because now it's providing you more thoughts, but that is not the reason for it. It's to help remind you to start trust falling deep into the core of your being, to remember who you are, why you're here, and what feels good to embody, because in feeling is where you're going to find clarity. Through trusting your intuitive signals is where you'll find direction. So that when you start traveling right back up to the vagus nerve, to the mind, you can then create a gap, an opening in no thought to allow inspiration to descend upon you and feel the sanctity of knowing your purpose and what's worth focusing your mental energy into. I look forward to providing you more insight into the various other shadows. Until then, thank you for giving me your precious time on this earth. I hope this video provided you valuable insight to orient you towards something worth focusing your mental activity on. Down below, you'll find more information on this specific shadow. You'll also find an email address so you can get a hold of me for a free consultation, so you can learn more about your specific shadow challenges and how to navigate them with more ease in the entirety of your being. You'll also find 3 support groups that I host in meetups. First one is Divination Systems, where you can learn more about the human design and the gene keys and find which one, probably the gene keys in this part, where you can become more receptive and immersive in the sensory experience and being receptive to the shadow challenges in each of your specific evolutionary processes. The next one is emotional intelligence and mastery. So you don't have to think through your emotions. You'll be able to become witness to their questions, and you'll be able to be more receptive to your inner sovereignty, your inner authority, and your intuitive signals about which direction feels best to act on or to not act on. And lastly, emotional trauma release group, where you discover the ability to move through various fears, angers, sadness, shame, guilt, so that you can understand their purpose, why they are valid as part of the human experience, and why they add the zest to the human experience, as opposed to keep you locked in to incessant thinking. Again, thank you for listening. I look forward to providing more content. God bless you on your journey. Namaste and good life to all of you.